Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of building Raxus in Lego. I was actually looking at the last episode, week 5, was January 9th, which is just under 2 months. Today is March 6th, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, I have a lot of explaining to do, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about unnecessary stuff. I want to get into everything we got done, and as you can see here, we got a lot done. Welcome back to Building Raxus in Lego Week 6, inspired from Star Wars The Bad Batch. I hope you guys are excited for the big return episode. More importantly, I'm really excited to show you guys all the work I've done probably in the past 2 months. Obviously, things have been getting super busy just outside of Lego and the channel, which is obviously why this video is so delayed, but probably about 20 to 25 hours, and also just waiting for thousands and thousands of bricks to come in, and it was a while. So I hope you guys are excited. Drop a like if you guys are. Make sure you also subscribe down below and make sure you don't miss any episodes coming up. I want to give a huge thanks to our series sponsor brickzz over on Bricklink. I actually made I think 2 or 3 orders just to get some parts done for this mock. If you guys want to go ahead and check out their Bricklink store down below in the description, they have parts, minifigures, a bunch of really cool things. And when you guys go to order something from brickzz for yourselves, make sure you put TheBrickWiz in your order comments. You'll also get a free little Star Wars giveaway, which is awesome. So in last week's episode, we started the very bottom of the sort of courtyard grounds, I think is what I called it. And looking back at the progress that we got done, it was nothing super crazy, but we were able to get a decent idea of what we were working towards. And as I said in that video, I'm pretty sure a bunch of times, making that entire ground out of snot, which is studs not on top, was probably going to be the most time consuming. And boy, it was. It was definitely interesting to not only create the same thing over and over and over and over again, but there were some intricacies of the mock that I wasn't expecting, that I had to sort of use my creative brain to kind of get around, but I hope you guys like it. In fact, I'm looking at what was done the last episode, and this is nothing right here compared to what we have today, and I'm happy to say that because we've been gone for so long. So I'm going to cut talking. I want to get right into the episode for this week. I do want to say the outro of today's episode is going to be very important for a timeline of the rest of the series, guys. So if you're going to pay attention to anything in this video, please make sure it's the outro. I'll leave the timestamps down below in the description so you guys can find it. But without further ado, let's get back into the return episode of Building Raxus Week 6. So it's been so long since the last update, and I've probably spent about 10 hours or so on the progress you could see here so far, and I don't think I've actually recorded any footage or time-lapse because simply it's easier for me to work and get stuff done when there's not a camera recording my every move, so I hope you guys understand. But there's a bunch of things I want to go over. First things first, we changed up the middle area technique here. As you guys saw in the last episode, whenever that was, we basically decided to just put down tile, and that's essentially what we're going to keep doing. It looks so much better. It looks so much more clean. So I think that's inevitably what we're going to keep doing. So that's going really, really good. The next part, which was a little bit of a difficult thing to start, was obviously getting the snot to go up against the outside of this hill. Now, there were a couple of things that I tried out with. The first technique was just simply using tile, making it match the height of the snot platform. But ultimately, I decided to actually go ahead and make some other snot compartments and snot platform areas that fit perfectly with the edge of the hill over here. Now, this thing right here probably took me a little over an hour, which is kind of crazy considering how small it was. But ultimately, it does fit in perfectly, and I think it gives it that amazing look. I like having the stripe sort of continue into the hill, which I think just looks really, really good. So we spent time doing it on this side as well as the other side, as you can see here. Now, we do have a slight problem because we are running very low on 2x4 bricks. We have a decent amount left, and thanks to David from Solid Brick Studios, we have some extras. I'm not sure how long it's going to get us, so we might actually just have to tile the rest going over here, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Also, another thing that I've added is actually tile. You guys might be able to see here every now and then there's tiles sporadically on the ground that is actually going to be going underneath all of the snot pieces. That way, everything is a little more likely to be lined up. It gives it a little nice boost, and of course, it works up perfectly matching the edges of the areas and the rest of the mock so far. So that's kind of what we got done. We did make some slight adjustments to the sizes of the pieces as well. We made the middle sections bigger, so we basically elongated all the sections by like maybe 4 or 5 bricks, which was a little bit of a pain having to deconstruct a lot of it and redoing it. But now, what we're going to do is try to get at least one side of this done. Ideally, basically like this whole side right here, I'm going to work on that for right now. Try to get that done, and then we'll kind of see what we're working with, see how that looks like. But most importantly, we'll get to see what pieces we have left and try to go from there, if that makes sense. So some really good progress has been made. This is probably a couple hours of work. As you can see here, we've just been expanding the different sections of the snot ground. We have these tan stripes. They're also plated and tiled on each side with white stripes as well, which is going to look super cool when it's all completely done. Now we're basically just sort of working on filling the gaps, obviously making sure everything is lined up. We are detrimentally low on pieces, so I think what we're going to do is hopefully have enough to do this on the other side as well. And then this part, basically going from here and onwards towards the grass hill, is probably going to be tile. It's not what I want to do. I'd much rather the look of snot brick, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have enough pieces. But I am going to get back to work, filling these gaps, and hopefully, basically, from the edge of this guy right here, all the way to the edge right over here, that should hopefully all be filled in a couple hours. So let's finish that up. So we ended up getting everything filled in terms of the corners, and I gotta say, I love how this is looking. You can see each of these sections is using basically the same exact amount of parts, so everything is exactly the same. It all fits up super well. We were able to bring it up to the edge right here, which this section right here is probably going to be tiled at some point. As I've been hinting at throughout this video, we are very low on remaining parts, but I do want to give a huge thanks to David for sending over some 2x4s to borrow for the mock. Essentially, we have to do this exact same thing on the other side as well, and then the majority of the snot platform should be done by then. So I'm hoping that this is going to be enough. We have 3 bags here. We're actually going to open this and put them in the bin to see how much this helps us out. So that's a decent amount. That should do us good. We got 2 more bags. Here goes bag number 2. And then last but certainly not least, we have bag number 3. It's actually incredible how many pieces this mock is using in terms of brick. This is a good look. This should be enough to get us done on that side, between all the 1x1s, 1x2s, and then the remaining 1x4s we have down there. That should be good. We hopefully are in a good position, but we're basically just going to work on doing this exact same thing on the other side. I'm not sure if it's going to be a live stream or at some point or another, but that's sort of the update we got going so far. Very, very good progress. We are definitely making some good progress towards getting the entire snot. And also, while I'm here, one more thing I guess I'll explain. Because we are running so low on parts for the bottom platform, what I'm thinking is actually making a slight change to the layout. I think what was going to happen, we're going to have the Parliament building starting somewhere over here, but then on the back side we might actually make a Raxus street, just to sort of give the viewer an idea of what the city looks like, instead of just having the palace, Parliament building, the main platform, snot area, and the hill. I was thinking of maybe adding some of Raxus buildings behind the Parliament building, just to give it something a little more cool, just to make it look nice. I'm still not exactly sure if I want to do that, but you know, that will come out I guess whenever it is. But let me know what you guys think of that down below in the description. We're gonna get back to work on these guys. So we are nearing the end of the work for this week. We've spent so much time getting this entire road done, and the very last thing we have to do is this section right here. And thankfully, I finally got an order from BrickLink of all the tiles. We had some left over from what we were doing the other side, but this obviously wasn't enough. So now the last thing we need to do is plate and tile off this entire section right here, and then that'll probably make up this Raxus video, and then ideally we'll have literally everything here completely done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that and give you guys one last overview of what everything looks like so far that is done. Alrighty, so after about 40 hours probably total of working on progress for this update, about probably 2 months since the last one, here is all the work we got done. And this is exactly why I didn't want to make an episode every single week doing the same thing, because this is a very repetitive, and if you look at it like this, it looks kind of boring, but this took a very, very long time. But now we have the entire snot floor done. We have the mountain done. We've had the mountain done for quite a while now with all the trees, and we are really ready to kind of get going and moving on with the rest of the project. Now, I believe, just to recap, I think the end of the last episode, we had the middle segments here done and only like 2 of these guys. So we ended up doing another one of these on that side, and then the entire section here, including tiling off the sides and making the really intricate snot technique things over here. Now, these were actually really hard to make because it required really precise angle movements and lining up with the sides. So that definitely took a while. But taking a step back and looking at everything we got, I'm very happy with how this is turning out. We have the ATTE there, right there for scale. The ATTE is pretty big, guys. I'm not sure if you guys know how big it is, but I'll put this minifigure here. This is a custom minifigs for you, Bo-Katan. That's the minifigure. That's the ATTE. And this right here is how big the mock is looking. And we still have about another third of the mock to go, which is absolutely insane. But regardless, we are pretty much done with the update for this week, which is awesome. Happy that we got the majority of the boring stuff done, because now it's going to be pretty much smooth sailing. We have the pieces for the statues, which we're going to be getting into in the next couple weeks. In there is actually a bunch of parts that we're going to be using, and then right here are a bunch of pieces that are going to be used to recolor the ATTE to the Imperial one, which will probably be next week's episode. We're going to be recoloring the 2 that I already own. Going to kind of see what those look like, and that'll be the next week's segment. But we are ready to go, guys. We're ready to keep going strong with Raxus after a little bit of a delay. We got the boring stuff out of the way. We got the bulk of the builds done. And if you look about it, I mean, we're pretty much about maybe like 65% done. What's left? We got to build the statues. Obviously, the front Parliament building right here. And then I'm hoping to maybe include a little Raxus side street in the back here, which should be pretty cool. So we'll definitely see how that turns out. Thank you guys so much for being patient and sticking with me as I took my time with Raxus. But as you guys can see, it's a big project. It's a big endeavor. And yeah, I hope you guys like to drop a like down below. Let's hit the outro. So I certainly hope that was worth the wait. I know that was a little under 2 months since the last episode, as I said before. And there was a lot of stuff we got done. And it might not look like it, but I hope it does. I mean, we have essentially 60 to 65% of the entire mock done, which is pretty cool. And of course, I want to get into the timeline for the rest of the mock. You know, what episodes are coming out, when will there be any more significant delays like that. But first of all, guys, let me know what you're thinking. I spent a lot of money, a lot of time waiting for my orders to come in. And also, I do want to give a huge thanks to David for lending me some of his parts, because I would not have been able to get any of this done without his parts. So huge shout out to David. But there was a lot of progress this week, and I'm really starting to visualize what this mock is looking like. And as some of you may know who've watched my series, the past 2 projects I've worked on, Endor and Jeddah, have been canceled because I just lost my motivation and I wasn't able to sort of get over that hump to finally start to see what the mock was looking like. And now I have a great visual of what that's looking like, and I honestly can't be more excited to get to finishing this mock. So let's talk about some of the important stuff. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, Matt, are you going to have another huge delay like this? What does the future of the series look like? Unfortunately, I kind of have to kick it in high gear. Not really unfortunately, but I can't really afford to take any more breaks like this, because I have to have this mock done by Brick Fair, which is, I believe, the 2nd week of August. Now, that's plenty of time. We still have all of March, April, May, June, and sort of July. So timetable is still pretty accommodating to what my schedule is. So the end date, I want to have Raxus done ideally by the beginning of July, hopefully within the first week of July. Then I can make my finale, make the cinematic within the middle of July, and then pack it up and take it to Brick Fair. The deadline is going to be somewhere in the beginning of July. Hopefully I'll have an exact date as we move closer to that, because Brick World is in the middle of June. Then I get back from Brick World and only have about a month to get everything ready for Brick Fair, which sounds like a lot of time, but it really isn't. Now let's talk about more short term. What about next week? What about the week after that? As you guys saw, I have parts to start recoloring some of the ATTs. As you guys know, I have 2 of them built. I got the parts to recolor those into the Imperial version. So we are going to be doing that next week, which is going to be fun. I'm actually probably going to live stream recoloring the 2 ATTs. That'll be the focus of next week's segment. I will be away the weekend for a very important event, so I won't be able to spend as much time. But during the week, I will make a live stream. I will make a video about recoloring the ATTs. So that will be week 7 update. The following week after that is either going to be building the third ATTE or recoloring the statues. Between those two topics, those next 2 weeks are going to be taken by either of those. So the next 3 weeks in a row should be regular scheduled segments. So week 7, 8, and 9 should be coming out a week from today, and so on and so forth. Now after that, after we get the statues and the ATTE walkers done, all that's left essentially is the Parliament building, which is definitely going to be time consuming and probably the biggest part of the mock. Now, a good thing is I already have a pretty solid idea of what I'm going for, so we really shouldn't have to delay the mock series anymore, permitting nothing crazy happens outside of Lego or YouTube, but we should be pretty smooth sailing throughout the rest of the build series, which is a huge plus. And last but not least, before we head out in today's video, I want to give a huge thanks to you guys for being so patient and so understanding. I know I've been saying things I haven't been doing necessarily, and I think some of you may know life does get the best of you between work and just other things, but I really want to thank you guys for sticking with me. I think it's a blessing truly to have an audience such as you guys who really are devoted to the content I make and just invested in the mock series, that no matter how much time I need to take for myself, you guys are always still there to support me, and for that I am always in your gratitude. So a huge heartfelt thank you. I seriously love you guys. Guys, we're over halfway done with this mock, and as we near the end, that's when the series gets so much more exciting. The finale, the cinematic, the mock review, everything like that's gonna be super fantastic. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Take it easy. Peace.